Okay, guys, good afternoon and welcome to today's public health notice. I have a question for you. Just because you can have a certain amount of lead in the drinking water, does that mean we should have lead in the drinking water? No, absolutely not. Just because we can have a certain level of arsenic in the water, does that mean that we should have arsenic in the water? No. But nonetheless, this is the idea from our public health department. Now, what do I mean? Okay, so everyone knows I've been having conversations with those in the state health department. And this particular conversation has come up more than once. I say, hey guys, we really should not have fluoride in the drinking water anymore. And the response is, well, the EPA, they know what they're doing. And the EPA says that we can have fluoride in the drinking water under 4 parts per million. And I said, well, just because the EPA says, doesn't only enforces the fluoride in the drinking water once it's beyond 4 parts per million, that doesn't mean we should go out of our way to purchase the contaminant and put it in the drinking water. And yes, that is right. Fluoride is a contaminant, okay? Just like lead is a contaminant, arsenic is a contaminant, asbestos is a contaminant, okay? So I thought I would do a little demonstration to kind of bring this into perspective. So I have a glass of water. Now, according to the EPA, you can have a certain amount of lead in the water before the EPA will legally come in and force you to take out the lead. Okay, so let's say, for the sake of this conversation, just to make it easy, that the EPA, the maximum contaminant level for lead, is going to be 10 units, okay? So in other words, once it goes above 10 units, then the EPA comes in and says, okay, Henrico County, you've gone over this limit, so we're going to force you to get it out. But just because you can have, for example, 8 units of lead in the water, does that mean that Henrico County should go out of their way to purchase lead and put it in the drinking water, right? So picture it. Imagine you have an area, there's no lead, okay? There's no lead in the water. Let's say it's 0. But you can have up to 10 parts, okay? 10 units of lead in the water. But you have 0. Hooray, hooray. Imagine if your county went out and purchased artificial lead and deliberately put that contaminant in the drinking water, okay? So just imagine. Let's do lead. So they went out and they purchased lead and put it in the drinking water. So I'm out of lead. All right. So here we are. We have a little bit of lead to start off. Okay. And also the EPA allows a certain amount of arsenic in the water. Okay. So imagine it's 10 units of arsenic, but there's 0 arsenic in Henrico's water. Let's just imagine that. But Henrico says, well, the EPA allows me to have 10 units, so as long as it's under 10 units, EPA is fine with it. And imagine the county goes out and purchases arsenic, and they put it in the water. So let's add a little bit of arsenic, okay? So just so you guys can see this, we've got arsenic in the water, all right? But it's under the maximum contaminant level, EPA's maximum contaminant level. And then let's say we've got cyanide. So the EPA says, well, as long as it's under 2 parts of cyanide, but we've got 0 cyanide. So imagine the county went out and purchased cyanide and put a few 1 part per million of cyanide, okay? And the EPA's maximum contaminant level for mercury is 2 units. And so let's just imagine for a moment that there is no mercury in the drinking water, and the county went out and purchased artificial mercury and deliberately added it into the drinking water. Now, the health department says that that's okay. They can go out and purchase the contaminant. Now, this is a little bit of hyperbole, but I'm demonstrating this to make my point. Okay, so imagine they said that as long as it's under the maximum contaminant level, it's fine and dandy like cotton candy, right? That is the argument that the health department makes. The health department says, well, the maximum contaminant level for fluoride is 4 parts per million. And I said, you would never go out of your way to purchase a contaminant and deliberately contaminate the public water supply. Fluoride is considered a contaminant. This is not a nutrient, okay? It's a contaminant. It's also an element. It's also an additive. It's also a chemical, okay? But the EPA does, in fact, define this as a contaminant. So the state health departments say, look, if there's only a problem when it's over 4 parts per million. And in the case of Henrico in the city of Richmond, there's no naturally occurring fluoride. So our state health department, as well as other state health departments, says, you know what? Yeah, it's the maximum contaminant levels 4 parts per million. But we want to go ahead and go out of our way to purchase this contaminant and deliberately add it to the drinking water. Okay? That is what's taken place. They say if there was a problem, the EPA would step in, right? They say this is fine to drink. And then they want you and your children and the elderly and everyone in between drink the contaminant. And they say, look, you drink it, you're fine. Everything is fine. Everything is okay, right? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in all of the land. But this is the mind of what's going on in our health department, okay? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Just because you can have 10 units of lead doesn't mean you should go out and purchase lead so you can have 5 units of lead. Just because you can have 10 units of arsenic doesn't mean that you should go out and purchase arsenic and put it in at 8 units. Just because you can have 7 units of asbestos doesn't mean we should go out of our way and purchase a waste product and put it in the drinking water, or cyanide or mercury or PFAS, okay? So just because the EPA says, look, we've decided we're going to set a limit and we're not going to allow you to go above it, just like lead or arsenic, we're not going to allow you to go above 10 units, doesn't mean that we should go out of our way to put in 5 units of arsenic or lead, right? These are neurotoxin. They call them neurotoxicants or neurotoxin. People use the word synonymously, but these are neurotoxicants. Just like fluoride is a neurotoxicant, okay? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can drink gallons and gallons of soda pop every day doesn't mean you should, okay? There is a difference, all right? So I hope this kind of explains what's going on in the minds of those in the health department. They say, well, if there was a problem, then the EPA would make the maximum contaminant level 0. Well, no, they wouldn't. Okay, there's a variety of reasons why the EPA doesn't set the level of 0 for various things. Just like mercury, the level's not 0, but that doesn't mean that 1 unit of mercury in the drinking water is healthy. It just doesn't work that way. Just because you can, eat, fast food every day doesn't mean you can't, you should. The government allows you to eat as much junk food as you want, but that doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can deliberately contaminate the drinking water doesn't mean you should be deliberately contaminating the drinking water. Okay? Just because I can drink all of this doesn't mean I should be drinking all of this. No, I don't think so. So I'm going to show you a video that I came across the other day of Michael Conant, who he's the primary lawyer who sued the EPA. And it kind of goes to the thought process of the government and the EPA and the state health department. Okay, it will highlight this. But I hope that I explain this to you guys in a clear way to help you understand the thought process. The state health department literally thinks that, well, the maximum contaminant level is 4 parts per million. So, and it's not at 4 parts per million, it's at 0 parts per million. But your county should go out of their way and purchase this contaminant and just sprinkle a little bit of this contaminant into the drinking water. So, sorry, that was kind of gross. Okay, my contaminated water. It's kind of gross. So I will play this video, and if you guys don't like what you're doing, please email the Henrico Board of Supervisors. If you're in Richmond, email the Richmond City Council. If you're in a town, email your town council, etc., etc., etc. Email the Virginia legislators. Start having conversations with people and say, just because you can have lead in the water doesn't mean we should deliberately put lead in the water. Just because we can have mercury in the water doesn't mean we should go purchase mercury and put it in the water. And just because you can have some fluoride in the drinking water doesn't mean we should go out buying this hazardous waste byproduct and put it in the drinking water. Okay, and this is not hyperbole at all. So that's all I have to say about that. I will show you Michael Conant's kind of clip, if you will, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining this public health notice. And one last thing that you can think about: do you think that this is child abuse to go out of your way, put contaminants in your drinking water that children are going to be ingesting? Several people keep bringing that up to me, that what's going on is a level of child abuse. And I gotta say, it is concerning when you're deliberately contaminating the drinking water, you're deliberately putting a neurotoxicant into the water that harms children's brains. To me, as uncomfortable as as it makes me feel, and as uncomfortable as it is for me to think about, I have to kind of think that maybe this is a form of child abuse. But you guys let me know what you think, okay? Here we go. Let's get into this clip. Thanks a lot. Bye.